What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? NoZoupForYou here, and today I've got a review for you that I am very excited about. Today we're reviewing the Tier 9 German destroyer Z-44. And it's not because of the number 44 that I'm excited about this review. Now, I was 44 in high school, and any sport I played in college as well. 44 has just been my lucky number, and it's apparently a lucky number for me in World of Warships now as well, because I love the Z-44. I'm just going to tell you outright, I love this destroyer. I'm going to tell you why, but first, I just want to get that off my chest. And it's been a long time since I've really enjoyed a German destroyer. I mean, the T-61 is a great destroyer, but, you know, being a mid-tier destroyer, I don't always play it. I really need a high-tier German destroyer right now, and I just feel that the German line has somewhat been power creep by other destroyers, and really isn't as relevant as it used to be. I mean, every now and then I see some of the German destroyers in the high tiers roaming around, but it's not like there's something I would go to right away anymore. This ship, however, the Z-44, changes all of that. So I'm going to go into why. I'm going to go into the stats of this ship and the pros and the cons, and why I think that if you're a destroyer main, this is a valuable asset to your port. Even if you aren't a destroyer main, you'll enjoy the ever-loving hell out of this ship. First, I do want to go over a couple things with you. I want to go over with the commander stats that I was using, the skills, because that is important for this ship. Maybe not so important on some things, but I want you to know so that when I give you the stats of the ship, you know why the stats are what they are. So, the main things that you need to be concerned about that I chose, survivability expert, got that extra 350 hit points per tier. I usually take that on my high tier destroyers. I just like that extra survivability because sometimes it does allow you to survive that errant torpedo hit that normally would sink you or put you pretty close to being out of the battle. The important thing you want to take here, though, is Torpedo Armament Expert. Decrease that reload time by 10%. On this ship, it is a must. Out of everything you choose, make sure you choose this one thing. Also, if you take BFT, that's another good thing to have because of that reload. You get the minus 10% to the reload time. Definitely valuable on this ship. Superintendent, yes, but not quite as important on this ship as on other ships or other German ships. Get into that in a little bit why as well. And yes, you're going to want to take concealment. You want to get your concealment on this ship as low as possible. So those are the important items that I'm running with my commander skills. And of course, this is going to change at some point because the commanders are getting a huge rework. But I just wanted to let you know what I was rolling with. So let's get into the stats of the Z-44, this awesome, beautiful destroyer. So with my commander skill, hit points, I have 22,550. For the artillery, you've got a main battery of 5 single shooters, 5 128 millimeter pea shooters. Not really pea shooters, but, you know, 128 millimeters, that's fine. It is what it is. Now, you can get that down to a reload of 3.8 seconds with your BFT. You could get that even lower if you wanted to with some of the modules that you can put on there. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to want to do that. You're really not. You're going to want to focus on this ship being a Torps ship because this is a torpedo ship. I mean, that 3.8 second main battery reload is good enough. Now, you're not going to outgun something like a Holland, a Smalland, or a Friesland, but you do have enough power to do some significant damage in a close one-on-one gunfight. So they're not that bad. But this is not a gunboat. It really isn't. It's a torpedo boat. It's a torp boat. And here's the reason why. On this ship, you have 12-kilometer torpedoes, which are already better than a lot of the German torpedoes. I mean, 12 kilometers is really generous. And with the correct modules, you can get the speed of these torpedoes up to a nice 67 knots. That's pretty fast. You also have 10 torpedoes, and they hit decently hard with a maximum damage of 13,700. Now, if that doesn't sell you... Oh, and one other thing, torpedoes are detectable by only 1.3 kilometers. That's pretty good in its own right there as well. But if none of that sells you, this is the thing that should sell you. The reload on these torpedoes, you can get it down to 65 seconds. We're in T61 range right now at Tier 9. 65-second reload for your torpedoes. You spit out 10 torpedoes every single minute. Or you spit out 5 every 30 seconds if that's how you want to do it. The point is, you are throwing a lot of torpedoes downrange, and it is absolutely aggravating for the enemy team. The torps on this thing are amazing. Now, I did say I had that top speed of 67 knots, but that is also because I put that module on there. So keep that in mind. Without that, your torps are going to be, 63 knots? I'm unmathematically inclined right now. So 5 knots slower. Just keep that in mind. So there you have it. This thing is a torpedo boat through and through. AA defense, you're looking at 28. This isn't an AA ship. You're not playing it for its AA defense. My best advice if a aircraft carrier is coming for you and it's tier 10, just hide behind something with AA because you don't have it. Maximum speed with Sierra Mikes is 38.3 knots, so you're decently fast, and you also have speed boost to get above 40 knots. So then no complaints there. Turning circle radius 670 meters, rudder shift time 4.4 seconds. Yeah, I mean, it feels maneuverable enough. I'm not too worried about that. And lastly, your detectability range by sea, 6.1 kilometers. And while it's not sub 6, you're not in the 5s, you really don't need it to be in the 5s. 6.1 is more than enough in this because you've got 12 kilometer torps. Yes, it is a thing of beauty. So the last thing I am going to cover right now, though, is under the equipment. Just to let you know what I'm using on the upgrades that I was calling modules earlier, just so you know. Torpedo tubes mod 2, definitely want to take that for that minus 15% to the reload time. That's what gets you down to that 65-second reload. That is all important. Yes, you're going to want to take concealment system mod 1. You want to get your concealment down as low as possible. Really, the only other important ones in here that you want to take, torpedo tubes mod 1. That upgrade, of course, gives you that 5% boost to your ship launched torpedoes, so you do want to take that. You want your torpedoes to be as fast as possible and as fast reloading as possible on the Z-44. Something to keep in mind with your consumables, this is a little different on this ship. You do not have hydro. And this is, I'm not going to say it's odd, but most of you are probably used to German hydro. Most of you probably like German hydro. Most of you probably would expect a ship like this to have German hydro, but you don't have it. All you have is speed boost and smoke. Granted, really for this ship, that's all you need. If you had hydro on this ship, it would just make this thing ridiculously overpowered, in my opinion, because of that 65-second torp reload. That 65-second torp reload that slings 12-kilometer torpedoes. So now let's get into the pros and the cons of the Z-44. I've given you the stats. What do I like about this ship? What do I not like? Well, obviously, I love the torps on this thing. Absolutely love them. And the beautiful thing about these torps, at 12 kilometers, there are very few ships out there with radar that can outreach those torpedoes. I mean, we're talking Russian ships only, and even those ships, the radar does not last that long. Really, your only threats regarding radar are if you decide to go within that 12-kilometer torpedo buffer on something like a Des Moines that has 10-kilometer range. But you don't have to because of those 12-kilometer torpedoes, which reload every 65 seconds. And yes, I keep harping on that, but that is just godly, especially at Tier 9 when you're going to be facing Tier 10s. And in all honesty, this ship could be a Tier 10 very easily. I would have no problem if they had made this a Tier 10 ship, because at Tier 9, this ship can compete with any Tier 10 ship in the game. It can compete at Tier 10. If I was in a round with only Tier 10s, and I was the only Tier 9, I would have no issue in this ship. That's how confident I am in the Z-44 and its ability to sling torpedoes continuously. So yes, I love the torps. I like the maneuverability. I just really like this ship. I even like the guns. I don't think the guns are absolutely bad at all. I think the guns are decent enough for this ship. But your guns are not your main weapon. If you wanted to get the guns firing even lower than they do right now, you could do that if you want at the expense of your torp reload time. Wouldn't recommend it, but yes, that's an option. So let's talk about the cons of this ship. What I don't like. Well, really not much. I mean, I don't like the fact that you don't have hydro, but that's only because I've grown so used to hydro on German destroyers. That's really the only downside I can think of, or what I would consider a con. I mean, anti-aircraft does have a lot to be desired, but for a German destroyer, I'm not expecting anti-aircraft capabilities to be really that good. I'm just not. I don't care about that much. So when we talk about pros and cons, this ship has a lot of pros to it, and it has very, very few cons in my opinion. There is very little I don't like about this ship. And 6.1 kilometers for your concealment, that's not that bad at all either. I would not in any way, shape, or form consider that a con. So with the Z-44, what do you get? Well, like I said, you get a T-61 at tier 9. And in my opinion, in its tier, this ship is better than the T-61. Mainly because of your torpedoes being 12 kilometers. And then that's one small thing that I never liked about the T-61, just how short range the torpedoes are. Not the case with this ship. This ship can reach out and touch something at 12 kilometers away with fast torpedoes that hit hard, with also a very high chance of flooding. I found that I was starting a lot of floods with these torpedoes. So there is so much to like about these Torps, just absolutely so much. And I really can't speak enough about how fun this ship has been for me, how much I've enjoyed it, how devastating it can be if you flank or outflank the enemy team, just because you can fire off so many torpedoes so quickly. That 65-second reload at tier 9 is insane, especially considering you have torpedoes that go 12 kilometers. That just makes all the difference. So, really love this ship. First German destroyer since T-61 that I have really enjoyed, and probably, in my opinion, the most enjoyable German destroyer. I really think this one's worth a look. You need to keep this one on your radar, especially if you're a destroyer main or you like German destroyers and feel they've been power crept. This is the ship for you. Anyhow, I want to know your thoughts on the Z-44. Tell me what you think in the comments of this video. Interested to hear. Thanks for watching as always. Hope y'all are doing wonderful. Zoop out.